updating my crypto portfolio at this crucial time in the bull market as we transition into phase 2 and 3 of this bull market. We can see the Bitcoin dominance dropping off the face of a cliff. So let's go and find out the coins that I'm now holding in my portfolio. Hit that like button. Let's get on with it. Now, guys, this Bitcoin dominance dumping off the face of a cliff is very significant. It shows us we're moving from phase 1 of the bull market, the Bitcoin phase, into phase 2 and phase 3, the Ethereum phase, and then on into the large cap altcoins. This is what happened the last time the Bitcoin dominance spiked and dumped really aggressively. That was the last indicator for the altcoin season. We're seeing it happen right in front of our eyes right now. And further proof for this right now is while Bitcoin is stalling at highs under 100k, we're now seeing Ethereum starting to bounce aggressively from this buy zone area, showing that Ethereum is massively now outperforming Bitcoin, which doesn't typically happen until we start to reach into phase 2 of the market cycle. Therefore, what we're likely to see in the coming weeks is better performance in general from the larger cap altcoins. And in this video I'm making today, the focus of my portfolio will be towards the larger caps that I hold. And tomorrow, in a part 2, I'll tell you about the smaller caps I hold. But remember, the larger caps will pump first. Therefore, the majority of my portfolio is held in larger caps right now. And if I was not giving financial advice, which I'm not, I would suggest that maybe a smart person, a smart investor right now, would hold the majority of their coins in larger caps, because the small caps do see more upside, but they don't see it now. They see it later on. Now, onwards and upwards, I'm going to tell you about the coins that I'm now holding in this portfolio, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why I hold them. If you disagree with me, that is absolutely fine. Fill your boots and go and write in the comments why you disagree, but make sure if you're going to do that, you actually use decent evidence to support your argument. Now, in no particular order, well, actually, there is some order. I'm going to do layer ones first, then I'm going to do real world assets, then I'm going to do gaming, then I'm going to do like AI and deepin. Okay, so in the first one, we're going to do layer ones because they are the blockchains. Okay, blockchains are the ones that grow first. Why? Because they are the digital ecosystems that everything else is built on. Okay, these layer ones therefore tend to do very well when lots of people are building on them. And one of the layer ones that's had lots of things building on it recently is Sui. Sui now has a $9.8 billion market cap, and back in September, I was buying this heavily and telling you on the channel that I'd sold all my Solana to buy Sui, and everyone told me I was an idiot, but, you know, 3x since then, we're looking pretty good. But I'm still going to continue to hold this, and it is one of the larger portions of my portfolio because the TVL does continue to surge towards the upside. The volume continues to show strength, and it is looking more and more like a Solana 2.0 of this bull market. Why? Well, it is the fastest blockchain by far pretty much out there right now. It's starting to introduce devices like handheld devices. There's a handheld gaming device coming out soon. Solana did this in the last bull market with the Solana phone, which attracted a lot of interest. Sui's team comes from Libra, who is the blockchain team from Meta, or what used to be known as Facebook. They came across and started building this blockchain. Obviously, the tech is next level, but the amount of developments and things being built within this ecosystem is more than enough to attract a lot of hype that will see Sui continue towards the upside. Now, I know a lot of people will be like, there was outages the other day, there's proof of stake and proof of work's the best. Guys, I understand what you're saying, but actually, this is quite clearly capturing a lot of attention right now. And attention in bull markets is one of the most important things, the important factors in driving success. So I do think that there is good 9 to 10x potential in Sui right now. I personally will start to take profits on Sui once we get to around $6. That doesn't mean I'm going to sell the lot. It means I'm going to start to take some profits ready for the phase 3 and phase 4 of that path to altcoin season, okay? Because Sui's obviously running early, and I want to take some of the money that I'm going to make from this and move it into more volatile assets slightly later on. Now, on to the next layer one of my portfolio, Aptos. Again, team that came from Libra over at Meta. So similarly constructed to Sui. I haven't really seen the excitement that Sui's been offering more recently in terms of price action. But again, looking across the DeFi Llama, we can see the volume is going crazy in the Aptos ecosystem. The TVL continues to soar towards all-time highs. And you're like, what on earth is TVL? Well, it means total value locked. If you look down below, remembering that Aptos is like the digital city, okay? And all these things are built on top of that digital city in a city that's doing well with lots of like decent projects being built on it. Overall, it's going to accrue more value. What we can see is a lot of projects underneath Aptos right now that are absolutely booming, okay? These are smaller cap coins booming on Aptos. And this is telling us that Aptos still has significant upside despite having flatter, less exciting price action. And if you look at this price chart, Aptos, unlike Sui, is way away from getting towards all-time highs, which would be, you know, a good sort of 70% price increase from here. I do think that, again, Aptos has the ability to reach towards $80 to $100 billion market caps, which would mean it would give it a 10 to maybe a 12x if things go well to plan. You know, I do think that this is, again, a fantastic project with a lot of potential upside that people have been overlooking because Sui has been like a little bit louder in its price action recently. But still, Aptos has been running very strongly. It's now currently around $13. Again, where would I take some profits? Maybe we get towards $20, somewhere in this region. But I do think that once we break beyond there, a push towards $30 is more than likely going to happen in a very short space of time. Now let's rattle through these a bit quicker. Avalanche, $18.1 billion, much bigger than the other two. Again, a layer 1 ecosystem. Why am I holding a coin like this? Well, again, because the volume is starting to surge. Look, $2 billion a day in total volume. Okay, this is crazy. Avalanche has partnered with Amazon. Avalanche is also the choice for a number of top AAA gaming projects that are about to launch on-chain very soon, like Gunzilla Games off the grid. This could potentially cause an avalanche of people onto using the chain. That's probably a bit too cheesy for a Saturday, but let's just leave it in there anyway. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Avalanche, lots of projects starting to build on top of Avalanche. Come down below, look at the volumes on all of these different projects. One or two of these I called the other day, and one or two of these, just a secret, will be in my small cap video tomorrow. And maybe you can let me know down below what small caps you're holding on Avalanche. But yeah, Avalanche to me looks pretty solid in terms of the kind of the growth potential. We've seen it surge towards the upside multiple times. It offers projects flexibility in terms of the projects that they build on top, because it offers different types of chains on top of its ecosystem. This allows you to tailor your blockchain requirements. So for example, if you're building a game, you might build a certain type of blockchain on top of the Avalanche ecosystem, or if you want to gear towards DeFi, and then you also might want to tailor a slightly different blockchain underneath your project to what you might do for gaming. Does that make sense? Now, the other day, I made a video in more depth on Avalanche, as well as the smaller caps on Avalanche. So if you want to get ahead of that small cap video I make tomorrow, go and watch that Avalanche video that I made just like a few days ago. Now, while this portfolio video is geared towards large caps, it's also kind of like mid caps as well. So I've gone anything that's over 200 mil I've put into this channel. And then tomorrow is going to be anything that's under 200 mil. And this one caught my eye recently, okay? Because layer 1 blockchains are pretty much the ones that move first, but there are some smaller layer 1s that are creeping in and are of interest to me. So we got Vanna chain here, $223 million market cap. And this one's caught my eye because recently I've seen a huge amount of development going on. I've also seen a huge amount of marketing being pushed out. They've just been launched on Bitpanda, which has one of the largest user bases for any European exchange out there, okay? And coming down below, you can see various focuses of successful layer 1s and what they're trying to go towards. For example, the ultra high speed, built for scale, low cost, and eco-friendly. Particularly as we move forward, lots of different countries out there are under a lot of pressure to try and reduce their amount of emissions and things like that. Okay, so proof of work blockchains, everyone's been raving on about them, but the eco-friendly elements of proof of stake blockchains, I think is a very key thing and a very key thing for them to focus on. Now, something that's got me excited about this chain, okay, because we've been looking at Sui and Aptos and much bigger chains and how we've seen them kind of growing because the volumes, etc. on chain have started to pick up. You can see over here on Vanna Explorer, the number of accounts that are holding this particular token are absolutely surging towards the upside. We can see the number of transactions starting to pick up as well. Transaction growth as well over time, absolutely surging towards the upside. So this isn't a project that's so well known about, and that's because it is only at 223 million, which is pretty small for a layer 1. So it's showing all the metrics we want to see for a project that could be catching everyone's eye very, very soon. Okay, so hopefully we're getting ahead of the curve here. You can see coming across to the partnerships page and ecosystem, you've got Nvidia up here, the world's largest company, various others through the list that you're going to be able to recognize, okay? This is very, very key. The huge partnerships within this, if they start integrating different ecosystems into their chain, they're all of a sudden going to capture everyone's attention, and this could blow the price of this token up before anyone even realizes it. So hopefully we're one of the earlier ones to get involved and hear about this before everyone else starts to jump on board. Now, coming back to price action, you can see some seriously aggressive growth back up into March, and then obviously we saw a cool off in the markets. Now, however, we are starting to boom back towards the upside. I do expect that out of all the layer 1s that I hold, that this is one that is going to see the most upside in the coming weeks, because already from the base down here, you can see we did push up around 115%. From current levels back towards all-time highs, you've got 185%, and this can happen very quickly, okay? With a smaller market cap coin like this, I do think that I anticipate this doing 15 to maybe 20x plus in this bull market, and it could happen much sooner than you see in other smaller cap coins due to what we're seeing in terms of the volumes and things right now. Now, before we get into the other coins, something else I've started to buy is NFTs, okay? NFTs saw a big hype in the last bull market. Just today, I bought myself a couple of Mutant Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. which we're already starting to see a surge in price. I bought a Bored Ape yacht just the other day. That's up $12,000 in terms of the floor price from 3 days ago when I bought it. I've also bought a lot more cheaper kind of NFTs and lower barrier to entry NFTs. So if you want to find out which NFTs I've been buying, then make sure you go across, give me a follow on Twitter. It's the House of Crypto 3, okay, with this blue check mark. Make sure you don't go after anyone else because they are scammers. Go and give me a follow over there. I also update regularly over there on things I'm buying and selling, which I can't always do on YouTube because I don't have the time. Okay, so layer ones obviously have been very hot recently. Other narratives I've paid attention to are real world assets. Why? BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, now owns more than 2% of the Bitcoin supply. They are investing in tokenization of assets. This is driving the narrative of real-world assets like you would never believe. Now, a number of the real-world asset tokens I do hold are smaller cap tokens, which I will talk about on tomorrow's video. So make sure you subscribe to the House of Crypto, notification bell turned on so that you don't miss that video and see some potential massive gains like we've been seeing in the coins that were featured in recent videos, like Puffer, Cetus, Sui. So the only larger cap real-world asset play that I have right now is Chintai, okay? There are larger ones out there, Ondo and OM Mantra, etc., okay? But they are already pretty damn big. They've seen some aggressive price action growth over the last few weeks. I still think they're fantastic holds if you are still holding them, but I just think I want to have access to a smaller cap because I've got a lot of larger caps pumped into layer ones. So Chintai comes in with a market cap of $358 million, which is still pretty big, but definitely not tiny. And my bet towards this is because it is kind of similar in what it's trying to achieve to Mantra and Ondo, but unlike those two that have now billion-dollar plus market caps, this is coming in at a much smaller price. Regulated digital asset frontier. Again, this offers enterprises the ability to start building different tokenized assets onto the blockchain. This isn't necessarily just tokenization of stocks and shares and things, but it's also tokenizing different investments. So maybe taking real estate and dividing it up into different tokens to allow investors to come and invest in different real estate companies. This is also for energy producers. So people who are producing green energy, you can get people to invest in green energy again through tokenization of assets where you can share and distribute profits, etc. This is going to open up the whole world in terms of the ability to invest in things. I think real world assets is such a clever and smart thing that we're going to see going forward. Now, again, what I said with Ondo and Mantra, we've seen a lot of development because they've managed to get some really key partners on board. Chintai, again, has some huge partners that they're already working with. Starting to see a lot of development and business go through this company, which is why it's caught my eye. And I will talk tomorrow in more depth on some of the smaller caps and why real world assets are such a big deal, I think, in this bull market. Now, Chintai currently sat at all-time highs. Now, one thing to be aware of, we don't necessarily want to buy into coins at all-time highs unless they've already seen an all-time high and they're now starting to break through. Now, this, as you can see, starts to break through, will then show some support at that area and then will likely continue higher. We've seen this before happen with the Suis of this world, where it ran into all-time highs. It did get rejected from its all-time high. It then comes up through, it retests, and then look what happens to Sui. Now, I am very cautious about buying when we're into like full-blown blue sky breakouts like this, but once we're just breaking previous highs, that still gives me a reasonable opportunity for entry in my opinion. But obviously go away and do your own research. Don't invest in stuff that I'm talking about just because I'm holding it. Go and understand more about them first. Now, at this current market cap, I do think a 10x is on the cards, possibly even more if the real world asset narrative kicks just like I think it's going to, but let's see how it plays out. Now, on to the next two that you already know that I'm holding. If you've been subscribed to the channel for a while, they're in the gaming narrative. It's so obvious that gaming is one of the key narratives of this bull market, okay? Why is it such a key narrative? Because within a gaming ecosystem, playing to earn and actually making rewards just makes so much sense. Not only that, but you could build up your player, the experience of your player could then have an actual value. That player could then operate in different ecosystems around different games across a whole host of different areas. That's why so many people are focused towards gaming as being one of the best investments. Now, I will make more in-depth videos in the future on each of these different ecosystems and different narratives, but just for now, I'm rattling through these projects so that I can put them on your radar and you can go and do some research before it's too late, okay, before we enter into that next phase. Superverse is a coin I'm holding. Why am I holding it? It is one of the core gaming projects basically founded by Elliot Trades and is heavily backed by Alex Becker, Elliot Trades, and a number of other major influencers. Now, if you don't like it that these influencers are talking about their own projects and pushing them, if you can't beat them, join them, okay? In my opinion, I would personally rather hold projects that they're going to push to their massive audiences all the time, because that means people will buy them, prices go up. Superverse is a project that all gaming projects out there are trying desperately to work with. It's a gaming ecosystem coin, so unlike investing in an individual game or something like that, it gives me much lower risk exposure, but still gets me to see the upside of that narrative seeing some aggressive growth. Superverse, currently with a $665 million market cap, is on the larger side of life within gaming. But again, can this go towards 5 to 10x? If gaming suddenly sees a pump quickly, I want to be holding it into these coins. In the last bull market, we saw some of the games blowing up to billions and billions of dollars in valuation. Superverse looks pretty solid, although it is running into these highs. So I would maybe see it hang around for a while longer before it's able to break beyond here and then go on its merry way. Next up, another gaming ecosystem project, bigger market cap, $1.3 billion, and that is a Beam. Now there's two Beams and everyone's always wondering which one it is. It's this one with the rainbow flag, okay, the one that I'm talking about here. And if you come down below, when you sort of Beam markets, this is where you can buy and sell Beam. You can see BeamX is the ticker used on some exchanges, but not on all exchanges. And I'll tell you an exchange to use to buy any of these cryptos later for some of the lowest fees out there in crypto, and also without having to do a KYC. Why BeamX? BeamX, again, is a layer 1 ecosystem that around 30 games are building on right now. Again, back the ecosystems that projects are using to build on top of. You can't go too far wrong. I've also heard out there a little rumor that Beam will be partnering up with a major event coming out in the future. And I will tell you, once I've confirmed that that rumor is true, but there is going to be a global scale gaming event held in the coming future, and Beam is apparently the platform behind all of it. So stay tuned, and I will keep you updated in the future when I find out that to be confirmed and true, and I will share it with you. Now, because this is the ecosystem that pretty much all gaming projects are now trying to build on, you've obviously got Immutable X and others, of course, but this sits there with a slightly smaller market cap. I do think that this is going to see growth if we see that gaming kind of narrative really kick off. This is a project I've been telling you about for weeks, along with most of the projects I'm talking about today. And I know some of you will be like, well, why are you telling me about this now when it's already pumped up here? Well, I'm sorry. You only just found me, okay? But we've been talking about this on the channel for weeks, okay? All of these projects. This is a very classic chart pattern. We've seen Beam have a nice pullback since March, along with most projects. It creates the rounded base. It breaks up through, finds support, and now you can see it's on its way. I've actually, as you can see, got my trade open here as it moves. This is just my futures trade. As a spot trade, I do see this continuing up towards the upside for a long time yet, okay? I do think this is going to see at least 5 to 10x in the shorter space of time once the kind of altcoins in general start to pump. Okay, that's gaming said and done. Let's rattle on into the AI deep in arena and start with AOZ or AIOZ, 915 mil market cap. Now, there's something I really want to talk about just before I get into this coin and some of the other ones. Lots of people down in the comments will be like, oh, why are you talking about this project? Because this project's much better. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll go and look at that other project. And there are things that maybe catch my eye about the technology in that other project compared to another one. But there's another thing that you're really missing out on that is a very, very crucial factor in bull market, and that is the perception of what these different projects do. If these projects aren't able to communicate what they're doing to the general public and aren't really picked up on and being heard about or talked about, then these projects don't tend to do very well. In the last bull market, we saw Polkadot, one of the top, most technical and most interesting bits of technology out there that solves huge problems with interoperability, scalability, and security and all that, just really failed to perform, okay? Whereas other layer ones, they're actually pretty crap, did much better, okay? And this is a problem in crypto. Just because it's got incredible tech and stuff like that, if the team is not able to communicate this publicly, that will underperform. So some of these AI and deep in projects might not be as advanced as some of the ones that you think are the best ones, but they're also very damn good at getting their name out there, and that's probably what helps. AOZ, you can see, has been around for a long time. It is a very popular project that was around in the last bull market and has already blown up to massive levels already. Again, deep in AI crossover compute. Now, this is an incredibly interesting platform because it kind of combines all of these different elements together. It brings together compute power and allows you to share your compute power with the network, which you can then use for various different tasks. They've started to build a decentralized platform for videos, etc., kind of like a decentralized YouTube. And with all the development and growth going on in the ecosystem, AOZ is a pretty sure bet to be able to go significantly higher than where it's at right now, especially once you see AI really picking up. Again, Nvidia, the world's biggest company, has exploded in its earnings every single time it's announced them. AOZ has partnered up with Nvidia. This helps AOZ every time Nvidia announces new results. and you're going to see this as a catalyst for growth every single time. EOS, I do believe, is going to see probably a 5 to 10x from here, possibly bigger into the future, but it's already quite large, having run really early. In terms of entry, again, still below all-time highs, is showing a bit of consolidation here. I do think this probably is our last chance for entry if you wanted to find out more about it. Now, onto the last two projects. Deep in, split equally in my portfolio. I hold some Render and I hold some Aether. Both of these are deep in projects. Render allows for sharing of decentralized compute power to be used for rendering. Okay, rendering is massively important in video games, in movies, and other things like that. Render isn't necessarily providing the amount of use perhaps I think that Aether is, but Render again has the ability to capture a lot of attention and excitement in this bull market. And that's what's driven Render right now to firstly a $4.6 billion market cap. And we can see it's well in the middle of a breakout. Again, you can see I've got a trade opened on this. And we can see Render starting to push towards the upside. At this current valuation of $4.6 billion, I do think that maybe a 10x is a bit of a push for Render. I do think that maybe a 6x is on the cards, but it is showing early stage growth, which is why I hold it. On the flip side of things, Aether, which sits there at a $343 million market cap, is significantly smaller. I hold it because it's a deep in project, but it is the only deep in project that offers enterprise grade AI compute power. What that means is lots of AI projects that are developing things like ChatGPT, okay, or other kind of large language models like that require high levels or high grade compute power, which can only be provided by a handful of very expensive NVIDIA produced GPUs. Aether is a project that is able to do this through a cloud providing service, which means that Aether has one of the biggest revenue generations out of any deep in project out there and is still only worth $343 million. I do think that Aether has the ability to capture a lot more attention, has a pretty strong marketing department behind it, and it's just a little bit newer than the likes of Render, which is why it's sitting at such a small market cap in comparison. I do think that this has the ability to go towards a 20 to 30x in this bull market, which would be some significant growth. But Render is already worth 12 times what Aether is. Okay? So Aether, in my opinion, one of the hottest deep in AI crossover plays available. Now, if you want to go and pick up any of these different coins that I've talked about today, first of all, you need to do your own research and understand whether or not it's a coin you want to be holding. Also, if you want to buy them, then make sure you do it through an exchange that's much cheaper than using Coinbase or Binance or something like that. The majority of the coins I've talked about today are available on Bitunix, which is linked down below in the description. Also, Bitunix doesn't require a KYC or know your customer, and the fees are significantly lower. Typically, they list all the different coins that I talk about on this YouTube channel because I go and ask them to after I've talked about them. So make sure you go and sign up for a Bitunix account, link down below. There's also a bonus available if you use my link. Hit the like button, guys, if you're new to the channel and you want to see my small cap video tomorrow. Subscribe, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.